This is just a short press conference to give you an update on the progress we're making on reforming the structure of government. You may remember back in October, in my statement to Tynwald, I made reference to the fact that during this forthcoming year we would be bringing in proposals to help build on the reform we've made of government to date to enable us to rise to the challenge that faces the Isle of Man at the moment. Our aim is very much targeted towards creating a smaller, simpler and stronger government, and the main objectives of it is to create an environment for a more effective corporate policy making and ensuring all corporate policy decisions are implemented. We want to provide a more cohesive approach to the delivery of health and social care. We want to provide a sustainable structure for the utilities, to deliver a smaller, more joined up government, moving away from the silo approach which currently applies across government at present. And ultimately we want to start a debate on developing a more sustainable structure for government to take us into the future. So the proposals which we are making today involve a number of quite major changes, but this will be only phase one of a number of changes we're expecting to bring in over the next few months. The first change in phase one is that there will be a dedicated ministerial lead for policy and reform. So this will be a Minister for Policy and Reform, but working out of the Chief Secretary's office and reporting directly to the Chief Minister. This will lead to a realignment of business change, IT, human resources and economic policy. There's also some departmental restructuring, including the dissolution of DCCL and a combined Department of Health and Social Care. And additionally, the merger of the Manx Electricity Authority and Water. Now, what will this deliver? The proposals that we have at the moment will lead to a more centrally driven and coordinated policy development. There will be a reduction in the number of ministers, a reduction in management and staff numbers, and a reduction in the number of government organisations. The principal change is that the Chief Secretary's office will be restructured into a Cabinet office. This will lead to a more centralised direction of policy, and it will also combine not only the Chief Secretary's office, but the Business Change Group, the Office of Human Resources, ISD, and the Economic Affairs Division. This will combine to provide a policy and reform hub at the centre of government, which can work through Treasury and departments to drive through the changes we need to rebalance the budget and to get the Isle of Man back on an even keel again. The Minister in charge of policy and reform will also be the chairman of the Civil Service Commission, and shortly that will become the Public Service Commission, which brings all staffing issues through one single point in government. This is a major step forward from what has happened before, and will give central government a much better ability to direct the changes that we need at this very difficult time. That will be the main change, but the secondary changes will be, first of all, the re-merging of the Department of Health and Social Care. This is really very much on the back of our review of the long-term challenges to the island relating to an ageing population, where it is quite clearly identified now we need much closer working relationships between health and social care to identify a joint strategy to deal with these long-term problems, which are going to be one of the biggest challenges to the island over the next 10 or 20 years. So health and social care will go into a new Department of Health and Social Care, but the Social Security Division will go to Treasury. And therefore the range of responsibilities in social care will be focused very much on the health provision as to the benefit provision at the moment. That will go to Treasury and will be maintained in exactly the same way as before. There will be no, the public will not feel any direct impact of it on terms of benefits or service division. It will just mean that the managerial oversight of social security will now go into Treasury instead of the old Department of Social Care. The Department of Culture, Community and Leisure will be disbanded, and the various parts of that department will be transferred to other existing departments. The railways and buses will go into the Department of Infrastructure. The sport and arts, that's the NSC, etc., will go into education, and the Villa Marina and Gaiety and related tourist issues, the Welcome Centre, will go into the Department of Economic Development. So the outcome of this will be we will drop two departments, the Department of Culture, Community and Leisure, and the merger of health with social care, and the creation of the Office of Policy and Reform linked through the Chief Sec's Office. This will mean that there will be a reduction of one minister. The number of ministers in future will be 8 as opposed to 9 at the moment, together with the Chief Minister. We believe this is a rational step to take in the light of the streamlining we are expecting the rest of government to take, and there will be a commensurate savings in staffing at all these levels. The other proposal is to merge or create a Manx Utilities Authority, which is to merge the MEA with the water. This will bring together a true utilities authority, which will enable savings to be made, both in terms of physically being in a same building together. The MEA has plenty of excess space to house the water authority, and also will enable us to bring a coordinated approach to the thorny problem of debt repayment and how we deal with the MEA deficit in the future. So there are likely to be significant changes there. Now, the timetable that we are planning is that members have been told today, and the public obviously have been told today as well, there is a period of consultation with members over the next few weeks, and the intention is that the report which we presented to members today will then be taken on to Tynwald for debate in January. Assuming that Tynwald supports the recommendations that we are putting into this, the implementation date expected for these changes will be the beginning of April next year. I believe these changes which we are proposing are a measured response to the challenges which face government at the moment. We have put a lot of thought into these proposals. Members now will have several weeks to digest them and to put their suggestions forward in time for the debate in January. You may remember when we brought the restructuring in 2010, it was a very short, limited period of knowledge of the proposals before the changes were brought in. This way, it gives us plenty of time, I think, to think through the implications properly, to talk to everyone, to talk to the staff, to make sure everybody knows exactly why we are having to bring these changes through. The final shape, as I say, it will be a more streamlined government. It will be a smaller Council of Ministers. It will be a smaller departmental structure. Before these changes, we've had 9 departments, 6 officers and 9 statutory boards. After the changes, we'll have 7 departments, 5 officers and 8 statutory boards. So we've reduced the number of government entities from 24 to 20 as part of our streamlining process. Now, this will bring an opportunity for government to really refocus on the urgency to bring through a modernisation process, to focus on streamlining and saving expenditure in governments. It'll also give us a great opportunity to once and for all start breaking out of the silo mentality, which has been a major hindrance to the implementation of the pace of change and reform which we've needed. This is a radical step forward, and I hope this will deliver what certainly what government needs and what the wider public have been calling for quite some time. Now, this is the first phase we're talking about. The second phase, which will start shortly after we've had approval for the first phase, and we know where we're going on that. And this will cover a number of other areas. We're still looking at specific work streams at the moment, but one certainly will review the opportunities to reform the criminal justice system. The Criminal Justice Board is going to report via the Home Affairs Authority to Comyn by June of next year. And this, one of the proposals we're considering in this is in effect to set up a Ministry of Justice, which will amalgamate a number of areas associated with the criminal justice system. And alongside that, of course, without going into detail at this stage, there are a number of areas across government which we believe still need to be looked at to, again, to streamline them, to reform them, and make them more appropriate for what we need going forward. So I would hope that the completion of phase 2 will be no later than July of next year, which then will give us the opportunity to look at further opportunities in the autumn to bring in the added changes that we need. So this is quite a radical step forward. It is recognising the need that government at all levels has to downsize, has to become more streamlined, more focused and targeted on what we need to achieve. This way we have reduced one minister. We've reduced or will reduce a number of senior officers in the various departments, and will enable us to deliver what we have proposed by way of reducing also the number of government bodies that we sustain at the moment.